Facebook's newest competitor isn't another social media site, it's now Amazon. On the 17th of July, Facebook announced its new Buy button, which lets its users order products simply by clicking a button on a Facebook ad. What this essentially means is that the social networking giant is now attempting to also become an online retailer. This is, of course, still in a trial phase in the US market. However, this isn't Facebook's first attempt at e-commerce. In the past, the social network has asked users to spend on virtual games and gift cards. But what's different this time round is that Facebook doesn't plan to sell its own products. It is basically a new enhanced way of advertising. Will Facebook's latest experiment pay off? Tara Kapoor brings you just that answer.
There's a new e-tailer in town and it's called Facebook. Last week, Mark Zuckerberg and the world's most popular social network launched a buy button inside the newsfeed posts and ads, letting users instantly pay for goods and services from other merchants without leaving the site. This comes as no surprise given the fact that Facebook has dabbled with e-commerce in the past with little success. So the big question that emerges is whether the latest experiment will work for the social media giant or whether it's back to the drawing board.
People at all points in time are not looking to do everything. So when somebody is on Facebook, on a social media platform, he's largely trying to interact with his friends, is reading content, is sharing stuff. Commerce is not the highest priority on his mind. So sometimes mixing priorities in terms of the channels don't always work well.
The big issue for Facebook is the context. That is why, see, when I go to Flipkart, for instance, I go there with an intent to purchase things. When I go to Amazon, I go there because I'm specifically looking for things to buy. But in Facebook, I'm more or less hanging around with friends. So the context is missing. So it's kind of serendipitously putting one ad in front of me and hoping that I buy.
Before Facebook becomes a budding hub for e-commerce, there are several issues that will plague the social media site. One of the most controversial issues that Facebook has had in the past is with privacy, and the Quit Facebook movement a few years ago was a prime example of that. The issue that emerges here is whether consumers will actually be comfortable sharing and saving their credit card details on Facebook.
The short-term answer in terms of how this may pan out for India is that in truth it's going to be dead on arrival. India is very big on cash on delivery, and when we look at the slice of e-commerce against overall commerce in India, it's below 0.5%.
We did contact Facebook India to get more insight on the site's newest feature, but since the current test is limited to a few small and medium-sized businesses in the US, they shared Facebook's global release, stating, "We've built this feature with privacy in mind and have taken steps to make the payment experience safe and secure. None of the credit or debit card information people share with Facebook when completing a transaction will be shared with other advertisers, and people can select whether or not they'd like to save payment information for future purchases."
Facebook is really scrambling to find revenue anywhere and everywhere it can. So while it can say that it has 100 million users in India and it's the second most visited country in the world, actually the revenues from India are not even 0.1% of their global revenues. So they're really falling behind the revenue curve, and they're trying every single thing to figure out a way to make some additional, some incremental revenue.
For Facebook, whilst on the one hand the opportunity is huge because greater customization is absolutely fantastic. But the problem is that there comes a tipping point where you keep customizing so much that you have to know just how many ads to expose to a user before the user gets completely fed up.
The benefits of this latest feature working out would be huge for businesses because it streamlines the conversion process, it helps facilitate impulse purchases, and provides marketers with the opportunity to improve targeting accuracy.
The reason this is an advantage is because Facebook can monetize this opportunity by, number one, charging businesses to feature the buy button, and number two, by charging a percentage of everything that's sold. In this sense, it works like another aggregator website, like an eBay. However, unlike eBay, they have the advantage of group affiliation.
But especially in a country like India, which is Facebook's second biggest user base in the world, impulse purchases become slightly less spur of the moment because of India's online banking security norms.
The issues are far greater in India. One, for a lot of people, we may have 100 million people on Facebook, but there are only 16 million people with credit cards in India, right? And not all of those people are on Facebook. There are many more people with debit cards, but not all of those people are necessarily buying online. A lot of people still do COD. Tracking COD is going to be a even more different kettle of fish. A lot of people buy from net banking. That's going to be even more difficult. So solving the e-commerce buy button problem is not a trivial problem to solve. Plus the other issue is that a majority of Facebook is used in the mobile world, where it's even harder and where the amount of purchases are even lower than in the desktop world. So 2/3 of all of Facebook usage is mobile.
Not only that, across the world, impulse buys of simply pressing a buy button will only work for a few categories, and not ones where you might have to pick things like size or color.
Now, if you think about just the architecture of that brand page on Facebook, it's very linear. So you have to scroll up, scroll down, scroll up, scroll down. Where do you put returns information? Where do you put contact information? Where do you put what does the user need to know? All the details of the product. Where does that come? Where do you see the 5 different types of images you need to see before you buy a product? So those are all practicalities.
The opportunity for advertisers and marketers with the latest buy feature on Facebook is quite phenomenal, and if done right, can really increase the sales of certain brands, provided that they're innovative. For instance, say a shoe brand, using the data provided by Facebook, realizes that it's monsoon in Mumbai, that I really like the color red, and that my foot size is 6, and as a result creates a customized ad tempting me to buy the last pair of red gumboots that just happen to be size 6 to gear me up for the rains in Mumbai. But getting to that level of mass customization, especially in a country like India, is quite a long way off.
Undoubtedly, e-commerce is a step in the right direction for Facebook, given the fact that 1 out of 6 people in the world use the site at least once a month, and it will add to the site's ever-growing revenue. But the buy button in its current avatar definitely needs to be tweaked before customers buy out of the site.